Hello my beautiful little unicorns and welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time that I've been given the pleasure to welcome you onto my channel, I'm Vanessa Samaina and welcome to the fam. So guys, today we have another weekly prediction and I have prepared 4 groups that you can choose from because I want all my beautiful little unicorns to be as best prepared as possible for their upcoming week. That's right, there is a weekly reading on my channel each weekend. So if you are in fact new to my channel, then make sure that you hit the subscribe button in order to never miss your weekly reading. So guys, regarding the groups, we have the Amethyst, we have the Magnesite, we have the Fluorite, as well as the Larimar. And if you feel like you need a minute just to meditate on the 4 groups in order to make the right choice for you, then pause this video right here in order to do so. And otherwise, I'm going to get straight into your weekly predictions, starting off with the first group, which corresponds to the Amethyst. Hello, group number 1, and welcome to your reading. So group number 1, you chose the Amethyst. So if this is not the first time that you're on my channel, then you know that first and foremost, I like to speak about why you've chosen this stone specifically, aside from the fact that you may have just loved its physical appearance or had an experience with this stone prior to your reading. So the amethyst is perfect to balance your chakras. It is a very healing stone. It's very emotionally healing. It's very physically healing. And it is also a stone that is known to help with weight loss. So those may all be reasons why you chose this stone, but let's move further into your reading to figure out what's happening in your life next week. Okay, so group number 1, in your reading, we have Trust, we have Pleiades, we have the Iolite, we have the Citrine, the Hematite, the Aquamarine, Answer the Call, as well as Sanctuary. So group number 1, I want to get straight into your reading about your upcoming week. So one thing that I see in Sanctuary is that in your upcoming week, what would be of benefit to you, what is truly essential for your soul, for the healing of your soul, as I can see in the Amethyst that maybe healing is something that you need or that you've sort of been skipping out on. And to aid that, I see that taking time out from the world and spending a little bit of time alone is something that can truly allow you to feel a lot better and more recharged. So if you feel like you've been tired or you feel like you've just physically not been as energetic as you could be, then maybe try retreating from the world. Maybe try taking a little bit of time to yourself, as well as allowing time for meditation and allowing time to just truly focus on what your soul is calling you to do. And that is what I see in Answer the Call. So the universe does not only want you to focus on what your soul wants you to do and what you may be drawn to do, but also to answer the call. So if you feel like you've been drawn in a certain direction in your life, or you feel like the universe is somehow knocking at your door telling you to do something, you have to answer that call. You have to try and go after it, as I see that it will take courage, okay? That is one thing that I see in the Aquamarine, but at the same time, the universe wanted you to see this reading. The universe has led you to my channel onto this reading for a reason, and it is because there is probably some importance in feeling drawn in certain directions next week, and there's probably importance to actually answering those calls. So moving further into your reading and trust, I want you to leap into it. I want you to trust the unknown, as well as to just have faith in yourself. You know, believe that things will work out. Believe that things will turn out for the better and that you don't have to be afraid. Because in the Aquamarine, I can tell that courage is something that you maybe need, and the Aquamarine stands for courage. The Aquamarine is a stone that promotes courage and bravery. And one thing that I feel with you, group number 1, is that what you especially need next week is that extra push to get out of the zone that you're comfortable in and to actually do something new and to take that leap of faith with whatever your soul is calling you to do. So in Pleiades, one thing that I see is that one of your duties here on earth is to uplift humanity, and I want you to truly keep that in mind, because sometimes you can forget. Sometimes you can be like, what am I even here to do? And one thing that I see, group number 1, is that, you know, next week something will happen that will make it very clear that one of the reasons why you're here and one of your jobs on this earth is to uplift humanity, is to be here for other people and to just put positive vibes in this world, as well as to focus on problem solving. And Because we do have the eye light in your reading and it corresponds to the third eye chakra, so kind of like also a very intuitive part of you, I feel like in correlation to your family, Pleiades has everything to do with you problem solving within your family. So maybe you often have to be the bigger person, or you're often the one trying to diffuse situations, trying to make sure that your family stays intact and together. And I want you to know that when you make it sort of like a chore, when you make it kind of like, oh, like I always need to be the one who's the bigger person and it annoys me. I always need to be the one keeping, being like the glue that sticks things together. I want you to see it not so much as a chore, but more as like a gift, more as something that has been given to you for a reason, more as the universe trusting you with this great responsibility that it doesn't trust everybody with. That should actually make you feel worthy. It should make you feel special, and it should make you feel like what you're doing is of importance. And that is one thing that I want you to keep in mind, group number one, because family is irreplaceable. Family is something that can make us really happy, but can also upset us and kind of make us feel disappointed. But at the end of the day, I don't want you to get too upset over your family anymore. I want you to realize in the upcoming week that you just have to trust in what is going on in your life, and any sort of situations in your family that you feel like you're diffusing, or where you feel like you're helping out a lot more than you should or than other people do. See it as a gift. See it as you using your power, your strength, and your wisdom to actually do something good within this circle of people. Because in the hematite, one thing that I see that you're gifted with is mental strength. So you may be the strongest person you know, or one of the strongest people that you know. And if you have not been able to admit it to yourself yet, group number one, now's the time. Admit to yourself if you're the person who always needs to be strong, if you're the person who always needs to be the one sort of standing up for others and leading the boat, towards where it needs to go. If you feel like that is you, then that is definitely another indicator for the fact that you need to also take time out, and that you also need to focus on your calling and the things that the universe wants you to do. So don't put all of your focus and your time next week into this family situation where maybe you have to be the one uplifting and making the situation better. Make sure that you keep enough energy for your stuff, group number one. Don't forget about yourself, because in the citrine, next week is a very creative week. Next week is a week where creativity comes in abundance, and that is something that you should appreciate and use, because creativity is something that we sometimes find hard to channel. Sometimes it's hard for us to think of ideas that are unique, or think of ways how we can take our lives to the next level. Sometimes there are kind of blockages here that make it hard to know what the next step is. But next week is a week where things are flowing, where things are happening, and you need to take that opportunity and that chance and make something out of it. So don't let it get away. Make sure that you stay fully focused on your work. Make sure that you stay focused on your creative ventures, and that you take the leap when you feel a calling towards a certain situation. Don't allow fear to get in the way. The aquamarine has showed up in your reading for a reason, and I want you to be courageous next week, group number one. Okay, so group number one, that is a reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you found it insightful and that you feel prepared for your upcoming week, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello, group number two, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Magnesite. So group number two, first and foremost, a few words as to why you may have chosen the Magnesite. So the Magnesite can help you during meditation get into a state where you're really deep in trance, where you feel like you're in a completely different world and you're able to properly focus. Another thing that the Magnesite is said to be good for is creative visualization, as well as channeling your most imaginative self. So if you feel like you haven't been thinking out of the box or as imaginative as you could be, you may have chosen this stone because of that. Or, one of the underlying things could have been the fact that you're finding it hard to truly focus and to truly be in the present moment during meditation or just generally mindfulness practices. But let's move further into your reading, group number two, to figure out exactly what's going on in your life next week. Okay, so group number two, in your reading, we have cycles, we have the soul family, we have the jade, we have the dioptase, we have the calcite, the phrenite, the age of light, as well as patience. So group number two, let's get straight into your reading. So one thing that I'm seeing for your upcoming week in the jade is good luck. So You may know this from more Eastern traditions that the jade stands for good luck, good fortune, and a lot of people wear jade necklaces and jade jewelry just to channel more of that energy. But group number 2, I want you to pay attention next week in a week of good fortune for you. Pay attention. Are you creating that good fortune? Is there a way that you're channeling it? Because a lot of people also believe that good luck, good fortune can be created by you. So don't let that slip. When you're having a time of good fortune, when you're having a time where things are going well, just take a step back and think to yourself, what am I eating? What media am I consuming? How am I speaking to myself? How much time am I taking for self-care? What am I doing? What is my routine like? And then try and recreate and see if you see any sort of similarities during different spurts of good luck, because that way you can try and constantly be channeling the best possible situation and the best possible luck and vibes around you. So use that little trick that I have for you, group number 2, starting next week, if you haven't already sort of started putting these puzzle pieces together, or if you haven't even thought that that was something that was possible. So moving further into your reading, group number 2, I definitely feel like you need a little bit more direction next week. That is one thing that I see in the dioptase, that it's connected to your heart chakra. And one thing that I feel in your reading is that you may feel kind of a little bit lost, or a little bit like there is a loss of direction, a loss of what you should really be doing with your life. And I feel like it is sort of disturbing the peace, your internal peace. And that is one thing that I can see in the calcite. So I want you to know that a way how you can truly get back on your path, and a way how you can make sure that you're channeling as much direction as possible, is to release anything that doesn't serve you, anything that has nothing to do with your desired outcome. So we need to continuously be getting rid and releasing old energy as well as old items that do not resonate with us. And that is one thing that the Fluorite stands for, and that is one thing that I see the universe calling you to do, group number 2. So be honest with yourself. Have you amassed some clutter these past few weeks? Is it time for you to clean your house? Is it time for you to clean up that chair that's in your room that's full of clothes? Is that really necessary, group number 2? I think not. And you sort of don't realize it because you start getting used to, for instance, a lot of clutter on your desk, or your chair, or your kitchen not being properly cleaned up. And as you get used to it, you think it's the new norm, but then all of a sudden when you clean it, you're like, wow, this feels so good. So I want you to try and stick to that feeling of like, wow, this is so clean, this is so organized, because when you physically are living in an unclean space, in an environment that is cluttered, that is full of things that are distracting you, it is hard to do work. It is harder to focus, and it's harder for you to truly know, what you're doing, what the next steps are, because your mind is, going different places. It's going to that chair, it's going to that mess over there, it's going to a whole lot of places that is not work, that is not love, that is not positivity, and just basically, using thoughts, using decisions up for things that don't need to be there. Because in a day, a human being only has a certain amount of good decisions that they can make, and once that number is used up, then that is it. That is also why a lot of these big entrepreneurs, a lot of these big tech guys, they know that. For instance, like Zuckerberg, they always wear the same outfit, and there's a reason why all of these big tech guys don't even spend any of their decisions in the morning on what they're going to wear, because they know that they have a finite amount of decisions each day, and they want to use those good decisions for business to have the best possible outcome happen in their projects. So they don't waste their decisions. And you having a cluttered home is you wasting decisions like, oh, what should I wear? Oh, I need to get it from under the chair. Or what should I do at my desk? Okay, I need to free up a little bit of clutter. Not really cleaning it up, but just pushing it to the side, if you know what I mean. So make sure that you're not using up any thought, any decisions on clutter, because clutter doesn't really give any value to your life. You know what I mean, group number 2. So moving further into your reading, what I see is that if that is difficult for you, if you feel like you're struggling with getting rid of things, with letting go and releasing old stuff, then call in somebody who can help you next week. That is one thing that I see in the soul family. You don't have to do it completely alone. It can be very daunting to let go of things. It can be very hard to say to yourself, okay, I have an issue here. I'm finding it very hard to let go of things that I know don't serve me, that I know aren't doing anything for me, and I need to call in a friend who can help me, or who can use these things, who can take these things, maybe donate these things, and that will make you feel a lot better about it, because you'll know that it'll be in the hands of somebody who actually appreciates it and will use it and find use in it, compared to it just cluttering up your space. So allow yourself to feel positive about letting go. Allow yourself to get excited about it. I mean, just think to yourself, wow, I'm gonna free up so many amazing decisions. I'm gonna free up more headspace that I can use for positivity, for the things that I love in life, as well as my work and furthering my career, as soon as I clean up my environment and my space. So get pumped up about that thought. Think to yourself, wow, how cool is it gonna be when I have that extra space mentally, and when I also physically have that extra space, compared to, you know, thinking to yourself, oh no, I need to clean up. Because you can choose if you make it like a fun thing and something where you can grow, where you can get value out of, or if you make it kind of like a chore. So don't make it a chore. Then in the age of light, one thing that I want you to know is that you have to stop blocking yourself by having this sort of environment that is not ideal. So if it's not just cleanliness, if it's also, for instance, you feeling like it would be beneficial for you to have a calendar, a planner, something where you can really track progress and things that are going on in your life, do it. Because I can see that, you know, now is your time. In the age of light, I can see that you're ready. You've been ready and sort of been prepared for this from past lives. You've been prepared for this life that you have now, and you have to use it. I mean, okay, you don't have to use it, but I want you to use it, and I want you to use it, if you know what I mean, and to make the best out of it, and not let any sort of laziness, procrastinating, or just things that are everywhere clouding up your mind to get in the way between you and success. So really put thought to that, and know that you're prepared. And also know in cycles that it's completely okay for things to not be perfect. I mean, I go through phases where my room is cluttered, where things are not organized. Okay, you guys only see my clean background and my clean desk, but sometimes your girl has some clutter and some things that are lying around as well, and that is completely normal, and life is all about cycles. But what is important is for you to make sure that you don't remain too long in a cycle that doesn't serve you. So it could be a cycle as in a relationship, it could be a business idea, it could be also a cycle of, like I said, not decluttering and things just lying around for longer than they serve you and longer than they should. So allow your cycles to be sped up. You know, that is one thing that I see the universe wanting for you. And another thing that the universe wants to say to you in patience is the fact that you should pause before you take any action next week that is unrelated to cleansing and cleaning up your space, as well as your mental state. So take time to truly think your decisions through, because next week you're changing. You're probably going to close up this chapter and this cycle if you allow yourself to clean up, if you allow yourself to get rid of things. And I want you to know that divine timing is always at work, and it's important for you to be patient with the decisions that you make for your business. Be patient with the decisions that you make within your relationships, because right now what I see is that things need to be dealt with in the physical realms in your home life, and that should be at the forefront next week, group number 2, because that will allow you to see more clearly, that will allow you to make the best informed decisions, as well as to start really cool new projects that may be here for a very long time to come. So group number 2, that is a reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that you feel prepared for your upcoming week, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Fluorite, group number 3. So first and foremost, you guys know that I like to speak to you about why you may have chosen the stone, aside from the fact that maybe you just liked it, maybe you just thought it was beautiful. So the Fluorite is known as a mental vacuum cleaner, and the reason why the Fluorite is known as a mental vacuum is the fact that it can take a lot of the negative energy and just sort of poof, make it go away. It is also known to help you with clarity, as well as mental strength, and also decision making. So if you feel like you've been indecisive, or it would be helpful to you to have a little bit of clarity when it comes to which decisions would be best for you to make, then that may be why you have chosen this stone in particular. But let's move further into your reading, group number 3, to figure out exactly what's going on in your life next week. Okay, so group number 3 in your reading, we have flow, we have awakening, we have the blue lace agate, we have the amethyst, the ruby, the cinnabar, the star mother, as well as friendship. So group number 3, one thing that I see for your upcoming week is that maybe you're going to feel a little bit like it's time for you to mother and take care of yourself. That is one thing that I see in the star mother. Sometimes even if we have a good relationship with our moms, or we do have a good relationship with the mother figure in our lives, sometimes we need that extra little bit of coddling and taken care of, and just our emotions being babied a little bit. And that is something that I completely get. I mean, I'm a Cancerian. Hey girl, hey, like I'm emotional as hell, and you maybe are too. You may be of a water sign, or you may just next week be going through a time where emotions are a delicate subject and you just need to mother yourself a little bit. You just need to give yourself that extra little bit of nurturing. So when you think of a mom, you think of somebody who is nurturing, somebody who takes care of, you know, their child, of their family. That is usually what mothers stand for. Basically the person who is the head of the family, but in a more nurturing way, in a way that is more caring, more kind. Not that dads and fathers cannot play that role, but that is just basically the picture, the depiction that we often have for mothers. So take that sort of stereotype depiction, if you will, and allow yourself to do exactly that for your feelings, mother them, nourish them, take care of them. So moving further into your reading, one thing that I see is that you have to focus on your friendships next week. I see that surrounding yourself with positive people in particular. So if you feel like you've recently been surrounding yourself with people who are maybe not that positive, or who you feel like you cannot truly talk to about your dreams and aspirations, it may be time to sort of distance yourself a little next week, because one thing that I see is that you have to spend time socializing, but be picky about who you socialize with. So make sure that those people are nothing but positive. Make sure that those people have drive and passion. That is one thing that I see in the ruby. So follow your intuition. I mean, you can feel when somebody has drive and passion. You can feel when they're talking about the things that they love and there's a spark there. There's something there where you're like, yes, you have drive and passion. You're somebody who knows exactly what they want out of life. And that is one thing that I see in the ruby that you need to focus on cultivating in your life next week. So as I said, leave anybody who is sort of like a little slow, a little lethargic, anybody with maybe a little bit of low vibrations, leave them a bit on the outside next week and focus on high vibe people and being around people who make you feel good. So high vibe doesn't mean that they're screaming from the top of the lungs how positive they are and how amazing they are. High vibes is just anybody who you get good energy from, where you feel like, I feel better after hanging out with this person than I did before. You know what I mean? Be with that friend who makes you feel good about yourself, because that is something that you need next week. I see that what you need is that sort of positivity to allow you to nurture those feelings more, even if you don't open up to them about where you feel like you have to do a little bit more nurturing. I see that that will just allow you to feel better internally, if you know what I mean. So one thing that I see for you next week is that there is an easier way. Group number 3, you're going through something that you don't need to go through. So you're making life harder than it needs to be, and I feel like you have to just release expectations. So maybe you have high expectations for a relationship, maybe it's at your workplace, but just something I see, like you have this expectation, you have this idea of how it's supposed to go, what the path is supposed to look like, and you're making it harder than it needs to be. So in flow, the universe definitely wants you to awaken, okay? That is one thing that I see. Energetic upgrades can happen next week, but you need to induce them, or at least allow them to happen, okay? And these energetic upgrades are going to get you into a space where you know exactly what you need to do to make the flow easier, and what you need to stop doing that may be prohibiting flow. So let me give you an example. When I stress out too much, I'm prohibiting flow, because I'm prohibiting myself actually taking action. When you stress out too much, you may be the exact same. It may be hard for you to take action. You may be procrastinating a lot more when you're stressed rather than when you're relaxed, which actually makes no sense. But a lot of us struggle with that, and humans are not always creatures that make sense and are not always the most logical. And I want you to keep that in mind, because sometimes your mind is playing tricks on you, group number 3. So try and awaken to that realization and that knowledge, and know that, hey, through meditating, through being more calm, through allowing myself to be more chill and to just go with the flow, that is when I am able to start to succeed. So that is one one thing that I notice when I kind of like calm down, when I kind of tell myself like, okay, I need to do X, Y, and Z for my business in order to get to the next step. There's no way around it. Stressing about it is just going to delay. That is when I'm like, okay, I need to put my head down and I need to get things done. So communicate that to yourself. That is one thing that I see in the blue Laceagate. Communication is something that needs to be here. If you're not communicating with yourself mentally, if you're not working on your own mental state, it'll be hard to communicate anything in the future to other people. So be very clear with your communication with yourself. One thing that I want you to focus on is how you talk about business, especially. That is what the cinnabar is here from. And that is also why I brought up the example of business and getting work done. So know that in order for you to truly reach your highest potential when it comes to business, you have to communicate positive thoughts about money and about your business to yourself. So if you have already a negative sort of relationship towards money, if you think that, oh, having a lot of money is difficult, or people who are wealthy are bad or crooks, or, oh, you'll never be wealthy, it's just for other people, then you truly never will, because your thoughts about money, your blockages about what money can do are going to keep you in the reality that you're in right now instead of allowing you to adjust your reality. So if you want your reality to be you having financial abundance, for you having financial wealth, you being able to build a business that you're proud of, then you have to readjust your mental state and your thoughts in order to suit your reality, because your thoughts are what form your reality. This is a proven thing. This is not just wishy-washy. There is actually a science to this, and the law of attraction is real. So group number 3, focus next week not only on mothering your feelings, but mother your business. Mother what you do that brings you joy, as well as what you truly want to be doing in life as your purpose. And that could be earning money, that could be helping people, it could be both. But make sure that you talk nice to yourself and give yourself that extra boost of positivity by hanging out with people who you know will get you and who you know will end up making you feel better and stronger and more successful. So group number 3, that is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and found it insightful, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Larimar. So group number 4, you may or may not know that at the beginning of my readings, I always like to speak about why you may have chosen this specific stone. So the Larimar is for anybody who feels very connected to the ocean, and it is a stone that is said to also help sunburns heal faster. So if you're somebody who likes to be in the sun, who likes to be near the ocean or feels connected to it, you may have chosen the stone for that reason, as this is a stone that cools the mind, calms the mind, and allows you to draw out any sort of inflammation or infection out of your body. But let's move further into your reading, group number 4, to figure out exactly what is going on in your life next week. All right, so group number 4, in your reading we have receive, we have the inner temple, we have the carnelian, we have the unakite, we have the selenite, the oakenite, we have yes, as well as expansion. So group number 4, let's get straight into your reading. So one thing that I see for you next week instantly is the fact that you just need to be in the present and say yes. That is one thing that I see in the unakite. You have to be mindful and you have to be here. So group number 4, maybe recently you haven't really been feeling like you're in the moment. Maybe you feel overwhelmed with work or just constantly tired. And that is something that I feel like I can relate to, because sometimes when you have a lot going on and you have a lot that you want to accomplish and achieve, it can be easy to forget, like, hey, I need to have fun sometimes. I need to live in the moment. I need to meet up with friends and family. And I want you to remind yourself of that for the next week. A healthy life is a life that is balanced. A life that is well balanced will lead to success, because you need your mental strength and your full mental capacity in order to be able to reach your fullest and highest potential. So keep that in mind, and also just say yes to any sort of invites that you get socially next week. So if you get an invite to go to a barbecue, to go out for a coffee, to go out for lunch, whatever it is, just try and say yes and try to not find reasons to say no, because so often we find reasons as to why we should say no or why we should postpone something or do it later, even though we know that we could probably carve out time. But when it comes to spending time with people or doing things, we're really hard on the time, okay? We're micromanaging our time. But then at the same time, that same day that you said you didn't have time, you'll maybe spend 2 hours in the evening just watching YouTube videos, which, like, hey, that's completely fine. I love connecting with you guys, but I also want you guys to connect with what is happening in your lives. So my readings are here for guidance and to motivate you, but I also want the best for you guys. And if you don't watch 1 or 2 readings because you're actually engaging in real life, then that is all that I could ask for, because I know that being mindful is so important and is what will truly lead you to the best possible life that you can have. So try and get your eyes and your thoughts off the screen, off the internet, off social media. As I said, I know it's really weird for a social media like person and somebody who makes content for social media to say, oh, you know, watch less, but let's be real, sometimes it feels so good to just take your entire mind, soul, and being into a space where there is no social media, where there is no YouTube, nothing that is going on to distract you, and just be in the moment and be at peace. And that is something that I want for you guys, and that is something that I can see in the selenite that you need. And I would never want to deprive you of that, and never encourage you to deprive yourself of that. So the selenite connects to the crown chakra, and I want you to keep in mind that the selenite is also a stone that you can use to cleanse other crystals. So one thing that I feel like the universe is trying to say about your upcoming week, group number 4, is that, you know, a deep cleanse through getting a little bit of space from social media is something that would be beneficial for you. Getting a deep cleanse is maybe something that you needed for a while now, or that you've sort of been thinking of doing but you've been putting off. And it may be chewing away at your self-confidence. That is one thing that the carnelian says. The carnelian connects to your root and sacral chakra, and it is a stone that is about self-confidence. But let's talk about the self-confidence part for a minute, group number 4. So do you feel like when you go on social media, like recently, like you feel worse after you've been on social media rather than before you decided to scroll through your feed or things that are on there? Then if that is the case, I want you to get off social media immediately. You have to shield your confidence. You have to keep your confidence safe, because if you don't have your confidence, then you will not be able to achieve what you want to achieve. And I know a lot of you guys say, oh, too much confidence is cocky, it's not good. And that's fine, okay? Too much confidence is cocky, and too much confidence is not healthy. But a lot of us lack a healthy amount of self-confidence as to where we can tell ourselves, yes, I look good today. Yes, I'm smart. I'm somebody who is worthy of love. And a lot of us lack that basic amount of self-confidence, especially women. And I want you guys to know that it's so important to build that up. And if that means getting away from anything that is going on the internet, if it means taking yourself out of certain situations just to be mindful, just to be peace and calm and in the present moment, then you must do that. Your self-confidence is sacred, and self-confidence is the difference between you having the courage to go after your dreams and to say to yourself, yes, I'm qualified to go after your dreams, and you saying, oh, I don't think I should, maybe later. I don't think I can do this. That is the difference that self-confidence can make, and it can have such an impact on your life. Don't deprive yourself of that, group number 4. Moving further into your reading, one thing that I see in receive is that you may be the person on the receiving end next week, and it may make you feel uncomfortable. Okay, that sounded really weird, but what I mean with on the receiving end is, I mean, you may receive a gift or help or some sort of advice from somebody, and you may be the kind of person who doesn't like to ask for help or doesn't like other people to do stuff for them, because you like to do things for yourself and you don't want to feel like, oh, other people have to help you. You know what I mean? You don't want to feel like a burden or a liability. And group number 4, I want you to actually be able to receive. That is something that confident people are able to do, because confident people know that I'm receiving this time and I will be able to give. Confident people know that I'm of value. The things that I can do are valuable enough for me to also be able to receive from this person. So know that confidence as well as being able to receive are things that tie together. A lot of things sort of go together, and when you start making those connections, you will realize how important it is to love, cherish yourself, and also be confident about yourself and your abilities. So start practicing next week by being able to receive whatever is being offered to you. Know that that is not you being greedy, because if that person needed something from you, if you would return the favor, then definitely allow yourself to receive. Because if somebody is offering something, they most likely likely want to offer. So again, it ties in with you just saying yes next week. So in the inner temple, one thing that I see is that you have to tune into the portal of your heart, and we need some more devotion, okay? Devotion is something that you're lacking, maybe on your path to being more confident, but maybe it also has to do with clearing your karma, with clearing your past life karma. That is one thing that I see in the Okanite. Past life patterns are going to show up next week, and you have to be devoted to cleansing and clearing your karma in order to create a fresh slate for you to work on. So know that any sort of karma that is jammed up, any karma where there's friction, is something that can make it very difficult for you to be in the now, to be mindful, and to grow as a human being. So devote time to that area of your life, and also allow yourself to expand. So this may have been keeping you confined, if you will. Maybe you have not been able to expand as much as you could, all because there is karma that is in the way that has not been cleared that you needed to work on. But in expansion, one thing that I see is that you could spread your wings a lot more. One thing that I see is that you have to share the things that you're good at, share your messages, and don't be afraid of it. You know, you have to show the world what you're made of. You have to show this world what you can do, because if you don't do it, somebody else will. And you are most likely the kind of person who wants their life to be the way they envisioned it. You are most likely the kind of person who is driven, who is here on this earth because they know that they have a purpose, and you want to create your dream life. So allow yourself to put yourself out there, show the world what you're capable of doing. If you feel like you're good at drawing, put drawings out there. If you feel like you're good at singing, try and focus on how you can expand your platform, as well as put yourself out there. You know, that is something that can be really hard to do, especially if you feel like it hasn't been done before. And that is something that I feel like I can speak on. You know, I felt a little bit more like, oh, you know, beauty videos and videos that had to do with fashion or things that already existed and were widely accepted on YouTube. So I kind of held this side of myself back because of that. But by not expanding, by not allowing the world to see what I've made of, I have, you know, crippled a lot of my potential for a long time. And I don't want you to make the same mistake. I don't want you to do the same thing. I want you to skip over the fashion and beauty videos of putting yourself in a certain lane that you feel like people make you belong in, that you feel like society is trying to push you into. Follow any lane that you're truly passionate about. Don't feel like you have to stifle the things that you love just because they haven't been that widely accepted, or just because there isn't that much of it out there. On the contrary, that can make you different. That is something where you can truly shine. If there isn't that much of this out there and it's something that you really love, then that is where you can create a niche for yourself and start to build on that niche and truly form, you know, your soul tribe. Truly form a bond with your audience, with the world, and have that sort of tribe of people that just get you. Just like you and I get each other, just like musicians and their fans get each other, just like, you know, visual artists and their followers understand what they're about and cherish what they're about. So allow yourself to find that niche and to be courageous enough to step into it, even if it's different and even if it makes you feel uncomfortable at first. Group number 4, that is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it, and I truly hope that you feel well prepared for your upcoming week, and I will see you in my next reading.